You're listening to Believe It, the radio life story of me, Richard Wilson. This is my radiography. Recently, I had an extraordinary urge to return to Greenock. I wanted to go back to the house where I was born, look out of the window of my boyhood room. But I live in St. John's Wood in northwest London, 400 miles away. Who could I persuade to accompany me on this epic journey? More wine, David Tennant?
Oh, no, no, thanks.
It's very expensive.
I'm sure it is, but I'm driving.
Do you know why I invited you round?
I know you're about to tell me.
I want you to come on a journey.
Okay.
Back to Greenock, the place where I was born, only 44 miles from Bathgate, the place where you were born.
Have you been Googling or something?
No, that was Alexa. Will you come?
I don't know, Richard. I'm flattered to be asked. Sounds intriguing.
Well, we'll do it over a weekend when you're not working.
Yeah, thing is, I've got family commitments.
I'm family, aren't I?
Well, I know. I mean, yeah, of course you are, but you're not, you're not a creature my wife gave birth to.
True. So, it's no then.
No. I mean, I'd love to. If I can sort it, I will.
Excellent.
Will we take the sleeper from London to Glasgow?
God, no, I hate sleepers. I like my bathroom to be a walk from my bedroom.
Yes, fair enough.
Let's drive and stay at nice hotels. Shall we take your car or mine?
You don't have a car, Richard.
Well, let's settle that then. And do you want to share the driving?
Yeah. Do you?
Not really. I struggle to drive in the dark now, and the daylight's even worse. I can see what I'm hitting.
Right, okay. Yeah, I can sort of see why you need me. So how many miles is Greenock from here?
Alexa says 421. Google says 422.
Well, let's hope Alexa's right then.
I'll make this trip worth your while, David.
How do you mean?
Ah, well, you won't find that out till the journey's over.
Well, it'll be like a Wizard of Oz thing. I'll learn there's no place like home.
Come with me and you'll see. We set off bright and early on a late September morning. I woke at 6 and packed. Then David arrived.
Ready? Got everything?
That's the question. Every time I go out, I ask myself, have I got all I need?
Okay, well, spectacles, testicles, wallet and watch, isn't that what they say?
It is. I don't need to check my spectacles because I never take them off.
Same goes for your testicles.
I mean, I put them on my bedside table when I go to sleep.
Of course.
No, the checklist is mobile, keys, wallet, walking stick, and mask. Say it back to me.
Mobile, keys, wallet, walking stick, mask.
It's not very memorable, is it?
What if I sang it?
That'd be great. Can you make it like a prayer or something?
Yeah. I'm the son of a minister, of course. Mobile, keys, wallet, walking stick, mask.
That's perfect. Unforgettable.
Have you got them all?
Yes, and yes.
Oh, amen. Let's hit the road.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Looking for adventure.
We headed out on the highway, then we stopped.
Why are we stopping here? The sat-nav's furious. She's not speaking to me anymore.
We're not going to Greenock as the crow flies, David. We're going as the crow lands.
Is it going to land a lot?
We're taking that crow on a sightseeing tour of my life. We're going back to my boyhood via my manhood.
Okay. Well, you said it would be epic.
National service in Singapore was a great adventure of my late teens and early 20s.
You want me to drive to Singapore?
No, that's just the build-up.
Right.
After national service, I worked as a lab technician. Then, in 1963, I moved to London, to a bed-sitting room on the first floor of that very building, 19A, Hampstead Gardens. And one evening, I was walking back from the Everyman Cinema, smoking a French cigarette. I'd just seen a Jacques Tati film. I think it was Jour de Fête. And I stopped outside that building. And I thought to myself, that's what I want to do. I want to be an actor.
Oh,
I'd love to recreate that moment.
well, be my guest. Hey, don't forget your walking stick. Mobile keys.
No. I want you to recreate the moment. Then I can watch it. You look far more like the young me than I do.
Is it going to be like this all the way?
How do you mean?
Is it going to be weird?
It's going to be weird and wonderful.
Oh, well, that's all right then.
He got out of the car. I opened the passenger window, and I watched him walk down the street, stop outside my building, and want to be an actor. Cut! What's with the coughing?
You said you were smoking a French cigarette.
Dear, that's rather crude, isn't it?
I don't think it's crude. You suddenly wanted to be an actor, but you didn't know if you were good enough. The coughing expresses your inner turmoil.
Oh, no. I find that overdone, not truthful.
Can I get back in the car now? Loads of people are looking at me.
That's perfect. I stood outside that building in 1963, and I knew I wanted loads of people to look at me. That's what every actor craves, no?
Okay, I'll try it again. Without the coughing.
Very good. You being me in 1963, take two, action. Marvelous. I can see the yearning in your eyes from here.
Yeah, I give good yearning, don't I?
You do. You can get back in the car now.
Okay. Great. Just 418 miles to go.
I was feeling close to David, not sure he was feeling close to me, but that would come, surely. 2 hours later, we were in the little village of Shawford, near Winchester.
You have reached your destination.
That's what you say. We're going to Scotland via Hampshire. The crew's done a bottle of vodka. It's flying south to go north.
But you can stop here, that's fine.
Okay, Mr. Magical Mystery Tour. Tell me why we're here.
This was where Victor Meldrew died.
Oh, well, that must have been momentous.
It was. He was run over on this very spot. It's something we have in common, David.
How do you mean?
Well, your Doctor Who died, didn't he?
Well, no, not exactly. He regenerated.
You mean he died and was reborn?
Yeah, turned into Matt Smith.
Oh, he's rather good.
Thanks for that, yeah. So, what happens now? Do you want me to recreate the moment when Meldrew got killed?
Stay there. I need to get some stuff from the boot.
Hello, David Tennant here. Normally, Richard narrates these stories, but from now on, I'm doing it. Because this is our story. So, he went to the boot and took out an old grey Mac, a spotted scarf, and a Victor Meldrew-style cap, which we Scots call a bunnet. Then he laid the Mac and scarf and bunnet in the road in front of our car and got back in the passenger seat.
Go on, then. Drive.
Seriously? You want me to run over those clothes?
I do.
Okay. There.
Well done.
Would we just leave the clothes in the road?
I don't know, do we?
No. I'll run back and pick them up.
I knew you'd do that.
Well, I don't want to waste them.
Exactly. That's the Scots Presbyterian in us. We're alike.
You can get them dry cleaned.
I can.
It was weird, but it was strangely wonderful and fantastical, you know? I felt like Victor Meldrew's killer, but I also felt like Victor himself. 4 hours later, we arrived in Birmingham, where we were staying the night. In his early 20s, Richard had an epiphany in Birmingham, just like the epiphany he had in Hampstead, only earlier, before he took up smoking. It happened in a pub.
I travelled down from Greenock to see Albert Finney's Macbeth at Birmingham Rep, and I drank here before the show, and a man came up to me and changed my life.
Ooh, blimey, describe him.
Tall, moustache, donkey jacket.
Okay.
He asked for a light, and that was the moment I knew I was gay. It was his eyes. He had eyes of the most piercing brown. It's not often brown eyes are piercing.
Like this, these eyes. I know you like me to recreate these moments.
No, no. They were more piercing than that.
Oh, okay. Like this? This? I mean, I'm giving you the full pierce now. It doesn't get piercier than this.
No, not bad. Go on then. Ask me for a light.
Excuse me, have you got a light?
What the hell was that?
Gay Brummy asking for a light.
That was cruder than your coughing smoker. He was asking for a light, David. He wasn't in a panto.
What?
Just be real and believable, and I'll respond.
Oh, Jesus, you're a tough director. But you know what you want. Okay.
Thank you.
Excuse me, have you got a light?
I haven't. No, sorry.
Okay. Sorry to bother you.
Don't go. You have the most beautiful brown eyes. I'm going to think about your eyes every day for the rest of my life. Your eyes have told me I'm gay.
Your eyes have told me I'm gay. You tell me to be real and believable.
You're right. I didn't say that.
Right.
I just wish I had. But I tell you, after that, I never went anywhere without a box of matches. Still don't.
We have one on you now?
Does that answer your question?
Excuse me, have you got a light?
Are you gay?
No.
Then I haven't.
With that, we left the pub and I drove to our hotel. We were booked in for dinner. So, what's the significance of this place?
You're learning. I stayed here in '94 when I was a guest on Pebble Mill at 1. It was here, on that night, after the show, that I became a wine buff.
Oh, cool.
So now I want to pass on what I know about wine to you.
Okay.
We have 2 bottles of Chablis from different vineyards. Try them and tell me which is better.
Okay. This is quite nerve-wracking.
No, it's actually quite straightforward. Bottle number 1.
Beautiful pale gold colour.
Go on.
Complex. I'm getting lemons, an apple, something woody and brown, like mushroom.
If there's a mushroom in your glass, throw it away.
Okay, I'm just being a wine buff. I'm being Buffy. Wine Buffy.
Now, try this one. Well,
Well, that's even better.
how so?
It's even more complex.
That's what you look for in a wine, is it? Something you struggle to understand?
Isn't it?
Is this one woody too?
No, it's sort of like a lemon meets a peach.
A lemon meets a peach, eh? So it tastes like a leech.
Why are you giving me a hard time?
There's only one way to gauge the quality of a wine. This bottle costs $29.95, but this one costs $59.95. So this one is twice as good as this one.
Is it that simple?
Yep. I'm a wine money buff. It's the only kind of buff to be. Trust me.
I will.
I can't tell you if a wine tastes like mushrooms with a hint of peach, but I can tell you it cost me 60 quid. That's a fact. You can't trust opinions, even your own, but you can trust facts. Don't taste the wine, taste the money.
That's powerful advice.
It's fatherly advice. I know you had a real dad, and no one can replace him, but I can pay for the wine, and the food, and the hotel.
Thank you. That is such a dad thing to do.
Isn't it?
Here's to you, Dad Richard. As we drank, we felt a great sense of kinship. There we were. Both Scots Presbyterians, both TV legends, both in a hotel getting pissed. These are the kinds of things that bring you close to a person. Now it was time for the last leg of our journey, Birmingham to Greenock. I was taking Richard home. So, what would have happened if you hadn't become an actor?
I don't know.
Would you have been a lab technician all your life?
Maybe.
Maybe you'd have opened an off license.
Yes.
Wilson Wines. The wines wouldn't be arranged by country, they'd be arranged by price. Most expensive ones, eye level by the door, cheapest on the top shelves at the back where you can't reach them. That'd sort the men from the boys. What do you think?
There are no boys in an off license, David.
True. What happens when we get to Greenock? We go to your old house and then what?
We knock on the door and we ask if we can see my old bedroom.
Right, what if no one's home?
We come back when they are.
And what do we do when we get to your bedroom?
We stand at the window like I stood at that window when I first learned to stand. That must have been, 1937. We stand there and we remember.
Right. I've never been there before, so I won't remember anything.
You're right. But you have to be there. I want you to be reborn alongside me.
Wow. Can I be reborn the same time as you when I'm young enough to be your son?
Ooh, that's a good point. I'll be reborn and you'll be born.
Okie dokie. He didn't say another word for 50 miles. But as we got near Greenock, he finally broke his silence.
Not far now.
No. You're right.
Yes, I'm sorry I've been a bit subdued. It's getting to me. I mean, what if the terrace of houses is gone? What if it's just waste ground?
Then you'll stand in the spot where your bedroom was. Sure, that'll bring back memories.
But my bedroom was on the first floor.
Okay, well, you'll stand on my shoulders then.
I can't stand on your shoulders, David.
Okay, sit on them. Let's play a game or something.
Good idea. I spy.
Fine. I spy with my little eye something beginning with F.
Something beginning with F, you say?
Yeah.
What is it then?
Well, you have to guess.
Could you give me a clue?
Oh, Jesus, this is the worst game. Okay. Begins with F, and it's right in front of us.
Car doesn't begin with F.
Fiat!
Oh, no. That's not right. We didn't have Fiats in Greenock in 1937.
Oh, so it's I spy things you might have seen in Greenock in 1937.
Exactly. We are journeying back in time.
Oh, God, I mean, we're journeying back in time. What's this?
Go on, have another go.
I spy with my little eye something beginning with S.
Sky.
Correct.
Really? You're not just saying that?
Nope. You had Sky in 1937, didn't you?
We did. The sky was unforgettable. When I was 5, I looked up at the sky and I spied with my little eye something beginning with L.
When you were 5?
Yes,
So this is I Spy 1941, 1942.
that's right, 1941. It's in the sky and it begins with L.
Is it larks?
No.
Linnets?
No. You're good at birds, aren't you?
Low-flying pigeons?
Now you're being silly.
Just tell me.
Luftwaffe. Greenock Blitz, May 41. Destroyed 5,000 homes. Luckily, 9 Chapel Road survived.
I'm glad. Is this the way to Chapel Road?
I don't know, this road wasn't here in 1937.
Oh, great. We've come all this way and now we're lost.
I'll put Chapel Road in the sat-nav. I just put Greenock before.
You do that.
I feel very close to you now, David.
Well, that's because you're sitting next to me like you have been for, 537 miles.
After 400 yards, turn right into Barnhill Street.
No offense, but it's so great to hear a woman's voice.
Does she remind you of Georgia?
Are you saying my wife tells me what to do?
No, I'm not. Though I suppose I am.
Well, she doesn't, okay? Not at all. Hardly at all. Never. Maybe once.
You don't understand, David. I'm envious. It's wonderful when someone tells you what to do. You know, I turned down 1 foot because I thought I was too young. I wish someone had told me to do it.
At the traffic lights, turn left into Chapel Road.
And I didn't come out as gay till I was in my 60s. A wife would have told me to come out far sooner.
True.
I spy with my little eye something beginning with S. S for snooker hall. It's still there.
Turn left.
I feel sick. Excited, but sick.
You have reached your destination.
Where's number 9 then?
It's on the right.
Where?
There.
Oh.
Never mind. Pull up there on the left. That's fine.
Home again, home again. One day I know I feel more.
Well, what happened?
I wanted to knock on the door, but it opened automatically. That's what happens when they demolish your house and turn it into a Tesco.
Tesco Express. It's much more exclusive, smaller, more bijou.
You're clutching at straws, but that's nice of you. I'm so sorry. We've driven hundreds of miles.
Well, I have.
I wanted to buy a bottle of champagne to make the best of it, but all the champagnes are reasonably priced, so that was out of the question.
I understand.
I booked us into a hotel on Adam Street. Shall we go there and drown our sorrows?
If it's all the same to you, I'd rather cancel the hotel and drive back to London.
We can't just go back, David, after all this. Let's go to the snooker hall. At least that's still there. Okay, your call?
Heads.
Tails it is. You break off.
Okay.
Do you want to know when I first came here?
Go on.
Today. Never been here in my life.
So it's got no significance for you?
No. But I was about to have. Sorry, I'm distracting you. Take your shot. Oh, nice work.
Thank you.
White ball right up against the cushion.
Yep. Get out of that.
I can't bend down that far. I'd fall over. You go again.
Well, I'm taking my shots and yours.
Yes, you're playing yourself, so you can't lose. Either you win or you win.
Gotta say, Richard, this has been the strangest journey of my life.
I'm sure. And it's not over yet.
So that's what I did. I took his shot, then mine, then his, then mine, all the way to the end of the frame. And he was right. I beat myself handsomely.
You played brilliantly, David.
I lost track of when I was you and when I was me.
I'm glad. That's why I brought you here. Do you believe in the transmigration of souls?
Hey?
Do you believe, as the Buddhists do, that a man might be reincarnated as a frog or a willow tree?
Oh, for God's sake, you don't talk about reincarnation in a snooker hall. You talk about meat pies, fights in pubs, you know.
You're right. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll save it for the end of the journey.
What was happening? Richard was sounding more and more like our old pal Ian McKellen playing Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. All portentous and momentous and pretentious. Anyway, he cancelled the hotel and we set off for London. And I drove and I drove. I drove through the night. At 6 in the morning, my head lolled forward onto the steering wheel. Luckily, I was parked outside Richard's flat at the time.
David,
What?
you fell asleep.
Oh, blimey. Right. I'll say goodbye and head home. Thank you so much for everything. It was memorable. Wouldn't have missed it.
I'm glad.
But let's not do it again soon.
Listen, you can't drive home in your condition. Come up and have a cup of coffee. Strong enough?
Absolutely. I'm buzzing.
Good. I want you to listen closely. In my will, I'm going to leave you my walking stick and my mobile.
In your will, you've left me your walking stick and your mobile.
You don't have to repeat what I say. Just listen.
Sorry, I'm so wired. I'm feeling incredibly awake and totally zonked at the same time. You were saying?
In my will, I've left you my walking stick and my mobile and my keys and my wallet and my mask and a box of matches.
That's extraordinary.
If I had an off-license called Wilson Wines, I'd leave you my off-license. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Not even slightly.
What I'm saying is I don't have an off-license.
I know.
But I've got these essentials which I'm leaving to you to remind you of me.
Great. That's great. Actually, don't leave me your mask. I'll buy my own.
And then there is this. My most expensive bottle of wine.
Wow. What is it?
It's £300.
Right. That says it all.
It does. And I'll have one more thing to give you. Remember in the snooker hall when I talked about reincarnation and the transmigration of souls?
I do.
Did you think I was mad?
No. Thought you were Gandalf.
Wise, then.
Wise in a mad way. No offence. So, come on then. What else are you going to give me?
My talent. I want my talent to be reborn in you.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
Our journey brought us closer together, so close that I am now ready to pass my gift down to you.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm honoured. How's that work, though?
Doctor Who was off the air for 15 years, then it came back. Are you with me so far?
I am.
One Foot in the Grave's been off the air for 20 years. So sooner or later, it will come back. And you have to do it. You have to be Meldrew.
What?
You're the only one who can be me, David. You've seen the Tesco where I was born, you've recreated my epiphanies, and you potted my balls.
Could I have some more coffee?
No.
What do you mean I can be you? You're not leaving me your body, are you? I've got one already.
Calm down. I want you to have my voice. Once you've got my voice, everything else will follow. Shall we start now?
I don't believe this.
Close. It's I don't believe it. Shall we try one?
Oh, Jesus. I don't believe it.
Again. More me.
I don't believe it.
Getting there.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I'm reincarnating. Or are you?
Who knows? Who cares? Keep going. I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I'm halfway there, aren't I?
You are. Don't stop now.
I don't believe it.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like
I was there for hours.
me,
When I got home, I told my wife that my heart belonged to her and the kids,
to you.
but my voice belonged to Richard. She gave me some paracetamol.
Yes, it's true. I'm leaving David Tennant, my golden voice. The voice you're listening to now. Or are you? Is this me? It sounds like me, which means it could be him.
In Believe It, David Tennant was David Tennant, Richard Wilson was Richard Wilson, and John Cantor was the man who needed a light.
It was written by John Cantor and produced by Clive Brill.
Believe It is a Brill production for Radio 4.
This is David Tennant saying, thank you for listening.
And this is Richard Wilson agreeing.